Hello, you're stuck in traffic with Wolf Gorlick. Couple-minute riff on IT and IT security. Today, looking at naming your correlation rules. So the other day, sent out an email. My team picked on me. Can you imagine? Picked on me. What the hell? On Twitter, no less. For using a word, seemed like a good word to use at the time. For using a word that made sense to me. For using a word that I have actually used several times in casual conversation. That word is percolating, right? Seeping in. The idea is percolating in your head. It always reminds me of a very comforting thought when I used to be at my lake cottage growing up, and there's the rain pattering on the wooden roof and smacking against the 100-year-old glass, and you pulled out that old pot, that old aluminum pot, that old percolator, and you put the coffee grounds in and it bubbled and everything, brewing you up the perfect cup of coffee. Apparently this is not a normal word in the 21st century. But what isn't a word, right? A word means something to you, but it doesn't mean something to me. Or it means something to me, but doesn't mean something to my team. And worse yet, it ends up on Twitter. And so that can be funny, but that also can create all sorts of issues, especially when you look at something like naming of your security monitoring, right? Your correlation rules, the rules that look at your logs and your sources and your filters and your network traffic and say, hey, there's a problem. These names become the lingua franca of your security operations center. These names become the lingua franca of your incident response team. They become the way that you think about what's happening in your network, what's an offense, and how you're investigating, and the way you report what you're acting on and what is just noise. So now is when I reveal the big reveal, right? Here's how you should name things. No. You need a standard. That's really the key. I haven't seen any one standard that's better than others. Typically a standard looks something like this. Name of who created it, especially if you're in a multi-tenant environment or a co-managed environment, the use case it supports, and the general action you're trying to catch. Now, that's one way of doing it. There are other ways. I'm not going to debate what's the best way. Really, the best way is to have a way and be consistent across the board, because that consistency is what allows you to spin up new people in your SOC. That's consistency is what allows you to have good communication during incident response and allows you to perhaps in the co-managed environments bring on a managed service provider who can help manage part of your environment, right? Consistency is key. The other thing is making sure that these names are very representative of what you're trying to do. Now, if you think about the big picture, it starts off with an attack or something you're trying to find or avoid, right? That attack gets codified into a threat model. One or more threat models lines up with one or more use cases. You may see me show Sankey diagrams in my presentations where I'm like, here's all the attacks, and it all flows through this, and it gets over to your assets. This one part right here is where we need to stop them. That's your use case supporting one or more threat models. Now that use case itself is implemented with one or more correlation rules. So having a name that allows you to tie that activity that you're detecting back to the use case, back to what you're trying to stop, is really important. And again, it's choosing names that are consistent and names that will make sense not only to you, but to other people. So that when you got an event, when you're looking at it, we're trying to figure out what to do, when the concern of this threat model and this use case is percolating on your mind, and you go to send an email, you don't end up being mocked on Twitter by your teammates. Have you seen good name conventions? What do you think works and doesn't work? Hit me up on Twitter and social media. Thank you so much.